Hello and good day to you, and welcome to episode 43 of Triumph Beyond Trauma. Thank you so much for tuning in and for spending some of your very precious time with me and hopefully getting something incredible out of the chat I'm having today. Before we get started, though, I want to let you guys know that we do talk about some sensitive topics, including alcohol addiction and suicidal ideology. If you feel like today isn't the best time for you to listen to this episode, please switch it off and come back later or skip it altogether. Our guest today is Shane Dimech, the founder of our Mateship Limited, a registered charity dedicated to providing free wellness days on the water for current and ex-serving military personnel, emergency services members, their families and carers. Shane served 11 years in the Australian Army, followed by a career in the civil marine industry where he went on to establish two successful marine-based businesses. Despite his achievements, the pressures of the service and life took their toll, and in 2017, the wheels mentally fell off. On day one of a month-long admission to a mental health facility, he conceived the idea of our mateship, vowing to create a space where others wouldn't have to suffer in silence or struggle alone. In early 2024, he turned that vision into a reality, acquiring a 46-foot motor sailor and later a 26-foot ocean-going fishing vessel, both now used to facilitate wellness on water, canal cruises, fishing trips, and offshore sailing adventures along the Sunshine Coast. The program fosters social connection, relaxation, and mental well-being in a safe and supportive environment. Beyond our mateship, Shane is deeply involved in supporting the veteran and first responder community. He volunteers for numerous organisations dedicated to military and emergency services personnel and actively pursues grants and partnerships to expand our mateship's impact. Shane also teaches weekly trauma-aware yin yoga classes for Frontline Yoga, a program that provides free sessions for all frontline workers, helping them manage stress, trauma, and physical recovery. These classes are donation-based for other community members, ensuring accessibility to all. Above all, Shane's greatest role is that of a dedicated father to his 9-year-old daughter, who continues to inspire him in his mission to help others. I met Shane last year, and he is every bit as lovely and generous as he comes across in this podcast. And I know that if you take anything away from what he says today, he would want you to understand that you have choice, you have agency. And even if professionals might tell you certain things, that doesn't mean that it has to be true for you. Please enjoy this episode with Shane. Let's get stuck in. Welcome to Triumph Beyond Trauma, the podcast that explores journeys of resilience and hope. I'm Rosie Skeen, a yoga and breathwork teacher and founder of Tactical Yoga Australia. As a former soldier's wife, mum to 3 beautiful kids, and a medically retired New South Wales police officer with PTSD, I understand the challenges of navigating mental health in the first responder and veteran community. Join us for incredible stories from individuals who've confronted the depths of mental illness and discovered their path to happiness and purpose, as well as solo episodes and expert discussions. Together, we'll uncover the tools to help you navigate your journey toward a brighter, more fulfilling life. Whether you're looking for helpful insights, practical tips, or just a friendly reminder that you're not alone, Triumph Beyond Trauma has got your back. You matter, and your journey to a happier, more meaningful life starts right here. Welcome to the podcast, Shane. It's so great to have you here today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, finally. It's been a little while in the, the lead up this one. I would love for you to start at the start, wherever you feel that is. You served in the ADF and out again. So yeah, if you want to talk us through that, that'd be awesome.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll just briefly touch on the start of my existence. So, I grew up in Lake Macquarie, New South Wales. So, grew up on the water. Started sailing. I think I was on my first boat when I was 2 weeks old. Had my first sailing boat of my own when I was 4, and then started sailing pretty competitively all through my younger years into my teen years. Absolutely hated school, so I left there the second that I could, and I went into sail making, so making sails for yachts, which got me out on the water even more. I started that at 15, finished at 19, so I was the youngest person at the business with about 30 people under me who were all older than me.
Wow.
And that's when I started looking at ways to get some more money. So, Army hadn't been on my horizon at all. I'd always pictured going to war. 'Cause, I was, you know, I was 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120 but never associated that with actually joining the military. So one of the older guys at work said, "Have you thought about joining the reserves?" Which I hadn't. I looked into it then, did my usual 5 minutes of research and went, righto, this is for me. Went and did all my testing, blitzed all the tests, but then they said because I didn't know what I was getting myself into, they wouldn't let me in. So I went, yep, righto, cool. Someone called me the next week and said, come in and have a chat to us for half an hour and then you're in if you still want to do it. So I did that, picked my first available date to go to Kapuka just because I wanted to get away from work. Work said, if you go, you won't have a job. And I just reminded them that that wasn't quite legal. So I went and did my basic training, came back to work, and they just gave me a lot of hassle for actually taking that much time off. So I just left and joined up full time.
Yeah.
Um, I did 11 years in the army. So I started in artillery and then was trying to get into boats, as you might see a bit of a pattern forming. It was a pretty popular job, so it took me 6 years to get into that. So while I was waiting, I did an admin role for a couple of years. While I was doing that role, I got deployed to Iraq for 7 months, which was awesome. There's not much admin to do while you're over there, so all of our work was to get people over there and back. So when I was there, I'll call it lucky enough to be in the commanding officer's protection party. So I got to go out most days to provide security for the CO when he was going around to villages to meet the local sheiks or whatever else was happening. We got to go and protect him. So it was awesome just to get out and about and
Yeah.
actually do your job. Got back from there, finally got into boats as soon as I got back from Iraq. So yeah, Townsville for a couple of years and then down to Commando down in Sydney as part of the Maritime Domestic Counterterrorism team. So it was awesome as well, realistic training, just away a lot. So me and my wife at the time were trying to have a baby, and if I wanted a baby that looked like me, I kind of needed to be at home a bit more. So got out of the army in 2011, moved to Brisbane to work for a marine company, doing marine supervisor roles and driving tugs and barges and towing all around Australia. So that was cool. I bounced from there to two other marine companies all around Brisbane. And then I noticed I wasn't doing too well dealing with people. So I thought I'd leave a very high paying, secure job to work in my garage with a sewing machine and teach myself how to make covers and upholstery. So I did that. That ended up growing pretty quick. I then bought out another marine trimming business and took over their workshop at Manly Marina in Brisbane, where there's about 2,000 boats on your doorstep. So I got absolutely smashed with work then. We had 6 people, I guess, working for us at one stage. And my whole mentality of not saying no to anyone and not wanting to let anyone down absolutely sunk me in this role because, yeah, just wouldn't say no. So I just could not switch off and just had way too much work, way too many people that I'd promised stuff to. And then my anxiety on top of that was picking the tiniest little thing that might have been wrong with the job and not wanting to finish that job off just in fear of what was going to happen, which was 100% of the time nothing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I'd done that for a few years, and was going. I thought I was doing well because I was making a heap of money. I had all the shiny things, had a wife. We'd had a child by then. I was drinking a lot and working, and that was my coping mechanism was alcohol and work. Um, you're right for me to keep going?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
just
cool.
wanted to ask, I have a question
Yep,
though. What
yep.
led you to the army and not the navy, seeing as though you love the water so much?
I didn't want to wear white, and I didn't want to be called a seaman.
Okay, fair enough.
Yep. And yeah, I spent a lot of time on Navy ships, but wearing green, you weren't treated that well. So um, yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way
With
that
the
I
choice
ended
you
up.
went. Yeah, good.
Yep. Um, cool. So yeah, so I was plodding along running my business. I got into another business while I was doing that. So I was running two businesses, had all the shiny things, making a heap of money, and just didn't want to be here anymore. Uh, I reached out to my GP had a bit of a chat to them. They referred me to a psychiatrist and was then diagnosed with PTSD, depression, anxiety, and alcohol addiction. Um, I got started on medication straight away, which you don't know what you don't know. So I was playing that for a little while. Did that for about 6 months, and then January 2017, I think it was my first day back at work. Everything just hit me again, and I think I might have done half a day at work, and then I went to the pub, and I had a plan to end everything that night. So I, yeah, went from work to the pub, drove home drunk, somehow ended up on the phone to a veterans mental health facility, mental health counsellor. And then they called an ambulance for me, and I was taken to a veterans mental health hospital, where I spent the next few months. So while I was in there, I got told I'd never work again. I'd be on medication for the rest of my life. And then that's what I believed because that's all I knew.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
these were
amazing how
doctors telling
much,
me this.
sorry, it's amazing how much faith we put in the doctors, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you sort
Well,
of have, when you don't know any better.
yep. Yep. You
Yeah.
don't know what you don't know. So yeah, that's what I got told. So from what I got told by them, I then put my businesses on the market while I was in hospital. Um, it didn't sell straight away, so I got out and I made some changes. So I think I did 2.5 months in there the first time. I got out and I changed a few things in the business to get me away from it a bit more. It really didn't help. But then luckily the business sold. So we had a caravan, so we thought, well, let's just go traveling. Um, so we traveled in the caravan for a year around most of Australia, which was pretty good. It's a hard slog doing that as a non-drinker since most caravanners are enjoying happy hour every afternoon, and this was back in late 2017. So I think being a non-drinker back then wasn't quite as accepted as it is now. So
Yeah.
just having to explain to everyone every day why I'm not drinking. So it's like the only drug that you need to justify why you're not taking it.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, did that. Um, Pretty much 2 years later to the date, I ended up back in that same hospital again, and it was a lot of the same people in there, seeming to be lining up every morning for medication to pretty much knock themselves back out to go back to bed. I had a lot of concerns when I was in there about my own well-being, and the answer was Valium and sleep.
Wow.
So that's when I actually started looking into more natural, holistic ways to improve my mental health because it wasn't until then that I worked out that they're not there to get me better. If I want to get better, it's up to me.
Yeah. Can I ask you,
Yep.
especially when you're running your business and like working a lot and drinking a lot, did your wife at the time have any concerns? Like, did she talk to you about it at all? Or did you think that you were masking everything pretty well?
No, I was a very high functioning alcoholic. And I didn't like, I guess every Anzac Day since I got out, like everyone going to me, oh, have you got your claims in? I'm going, well, there's nothing wrong with me. Nothing seemed to have hit me. And I thought everything I was doing was just normal. But it wasn't until I actually stopped and had a look inside and I went, righto, stuff's not normal. And I think the first thing that my wife pointed out was on our first Mother's Day, we'd gone out in the boat, spent the night out there, woke up. We had, I think it was my niece's birthday party. So we took the boat to that. And then it's like, she's going, are you going to wish me a happy Mother's Day? I said, what? Well, you're not my mother. I was
Mm.
just that self absorbed in what was going on in my world. I just had no idea about anything that I should have been doing around me. So that was a massive eye opener for me to actually have a look around me and go, all right, these people are important. Um, I need to be focusing on them, not just whatever I've got going on inside me. So that was probably my biggest turning point, especially after trying for 6 years to get our daughter. So it was a pretty special thing for us to have our first Mother's Day, and it didn't even cross my mind that I should have been doing anything.
Yeah, wow. That's incredible, isn't it? That it's you do get lost in your own little space, don't you? A lot.
Mhm.
I find the same thing actually and have to pull myself back out of it. The other thing I wanted to ask you is that night when you made that phone call, a lot
Yeah.
of people that I've spoken to that have had that sort of ideation that they don't want to be here, a lot of them say, I didn't actually want to die. Do you what do you think that might be the reason why you made the phone call?
I think deep down, yes, but um, it had been on my mind for a while. Like I always just thought the worst of myself. So I always thought my family would be better off without me. The world would be better off without me. I didn't feel I was contributing anything to anyone really. I was doing some jobs for people on a boat, making a heap of money, and that was it. I was from the outside, everyone probably thought that we were kicking goals, and I should be really happy because I've got all these materialistic things around me. But um, yeah, I honestly thought that the world would be better without me. But obviously, deep down, I didn't want to because I wouldn't have made that phone call if there wasn't a reason in there for me to hang around.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's such a good service too. It's not called, it was, is it VVCS?
It was
Yeah.
VVCS back then, and it's open arms
Open
now.
arms now. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, so you went back to hospital and
Yep.
decided that there had to be
So
like a better way.
yeah, so I think I was in there for about a month that second time, and that's when I had a new psychiatrist look after me that time, and it sounded like a bit of a clash between him and the last one. So he goes, "Oh, he shouldn't have prescribed you this medication," so he just changed all my meds, and that's when I was able to go walking every day, which is a big one for me, movement. But I just wanted to jump in front of a bus when they drove past, and I mentioned that, and they said, "Just that's cool. Just have some Valium and just stay in bed."
Wow.
So yeah, that was my turning point.
Yeah.
Whenever I've been in hospital, I always do all the programs that are in there because I'm there to try and get better. We started doing Tai Chi while we're in that time, and I went that whole time. All I thought about was not falling over, and that was the first time I noticed it. All my thoughts and everything wasn't going through my mind. So I went, right, oh, there might be something in this, but I didn't want to do Tai Chi because I just pictured a lot of old ladies out in the park moving very slowly. So I thought yoga is pretty similar to Tai Chi. Um, so I started doing some online yoga when I was in hospital. And when I got out, I found my local studio. I went there and said, no idea what I'm doing, but I need to be here. I pretty much practiced yoga daily for a year and felt absolutely amazing. About halfway through that year, I told my psych I wanted to get off all my meds, to which he said, well, I can't help you. So if you're not going to if you're not going to take what I'm prescribing, I can't help you. I found a psychiatrist down in Newcastle that was definitely keen to help me. So I went and saw him. He gave me his prescription on a post-it note from iHerb
Yeah.
with a bunch of herbs and supplements to get. So um, with yoga, herbs, supplements, I started weaning myself off over about 3 months. And then day one of no medication, I was in a new hospital and started doing TMS, which is the transcranial magnetic stimulation to the brain. Um, so that's what I used about 5 years ago and still using now
Yeah.
to replace all my medication. So once I was medication free and absolutely loving my yoga, I thought I needed to learn how to share this with other people. So I did all my yoga teacher training backwards. I did 100-hour yin training first because that's where I was getting my benefits from, was from the slower, calmer styles. Then I did my restorative training, and then I did my 200-hour yoga teacher training on top of that. And then down the track, trauma aware, and then teaching free weekly classes for frontline yoga. Just stepping back a little bit, once I had stopped traveling and had no businesses left, that's when I really got into volunteering.
Yeah.
I started volunteering for the first organisation was Buddy Up Australia. Through my yoga, I had a contact over in WA who went to one of their events and then contacted me and said, you need to have a chat to this mob because it sounds like they're right up your alley. So I did. I spoke to Megan, who was the founder, and then I started a chapter of Buddy Up Australia over in Foster, New South Wales at the time. So I dedicated my life to volunteering from that point on. I was just running wellness events for current and ex-serving military and first responders in the area. After my marriage broke down and my ex-wife and daughter, they moved up to the Sunshine Coast. So I was splitting my time in between Foster and the Sunny Coast. I then started another chapter of Buddy Up on the Sunny Coast. So yeah, I had both of them running. both with the same agenda, was to get, I guess, alternative ideas out there for people to improve their mental wellness rather than the standard that we get given.
Yeah.
So a lot of yoga, a lot of time around the water, a lot of movement, a lot of socializing just with people who get it.
How did you feel working with Buddy Up after, your marriage breakdown and being in hospital a couple of times and coming off your
Yep,
medication? You reckon that feels to me like that gave you a really nice sense of purpose again?
that was the word I was going to say, was purpose. So I
Yeah.
went from, even in the military, you think you're important. You're really
They,
not once you get out.
they make it like that though, don't they?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Um, and then, yeah, being in business, again, I thought I was important because I had money. But then when I lost all of that, it's like, what do I do now? Who am I?
Mm,
And unfortunately, that's usually the first question that people ask is, what do you do?
yeah.
And that was so hard when I wasn't doing anything to say what is it that I do, because I was yeah, relatively young and not working. So to be able to say that I voluntarily run a chapter of Buddy Up Australia was pretty awesome. Dragging people out of the woodwork that might only leave home to go to medical appointments was very rewarding. And yeah, I gave a lot of time and energy to that, which was very, very rewarding. I had my day one in hospital. I came up with the mateship idea, is what I'm doing now. So, but day one in hospital, I had the idea of um, getting a boat that needed a lot of work. So, getting a community of our people around to help work on this boat, and then once it's in the water, training people up on how to operate the boat, doing a lot of local trips, and then a lot of long-term trips. I
Yeah.
just didn't have the right people around me for a few years to give me the confidence to actually launch that. A couple of years ago, I did surround myself with a good bunch of men who believed what I had envisioned, and yeah, gave me the confidence to make it a reality. So early 2024, I put the idea back on the table, started hunting for a boat, couldn't find the right one, so I stopped looking for a few months, and then when I stopped looking, the right one just popped up in front of me. So I bought a nice 46-foot motor sailor, launched the charity or launched the organization, and then went the few months trying to get the charity status up and running. Before we'd even launched, someone reached out to me that heard what we were doing and wanted to donate another boat to us. So I
Wow.
went and checked it out, and I could see underneath the trees and mold and water that it was actually an awesome boat. So yeah, we took that on. Pretty much all the money that I had set aside to run the charity for the first year went into getting this other one up and running. But we've got two amazing boats now covering the north and south end of the Sunshine Coast. So we've got our big one for sailing or canal cruises where we go out. It's all for free for current and ex-serving military, first responders, their family and carers. And yeah, the weather depicts what we do. If it's a beautiful day offshore, we'll go out sailing. If it's not that flash offshore, if there's someone not confident going out to the ocean, we'll just cruise around the canals for a couple of hours, find a nice spot to anchor, do some fishing, swimming, chats, lunch. And I was overthinking it to start with. I wanted psychologists on board and counselors, but I've just found having the water, the nature, people around them who get it, people just are really comfortable and open up on board. So I'm trying to keep it pretty simple at the moment, and it just works.
Yeah, simplicity is the best way, isn't it, really? And
Yep,
I think
yep,
you like you sound very much like me. You get caught up in your ideas a lot and want to make it the best possible thing, like maybe a little bit of I'm a perfectionist, recovering perfectionist, And I think it
yep,
stops us from doing a lot of things sometimes,
yep,
overthinking it too much and just keeping it super simple. Yeah, it's the way to get things off the ground for sure. And then just ironing it out as you go.
yep. And that's how I am with the boats. Like, I've being out in the water is my happy place, but from what I'm picking up on now, if I'm on someone else's boat where I don't have the responsibility, I'm a lot happier than if I'm taking people out on our boat. So again, that the perfectionist keeps coming in going, oh, we can't do a trip because this, and this need doing, but
Yeah.
they're not life changing. They're tiny little things that no one will notice apart from me. Yeah, so I'm working on that.
Yeah, it is hard to work on that. It's something that I've had to do as well. And just like change the way that you think about your thoughts. And I think that's something that with yoga and mindfulness really helps with, I think, for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think it snuck in until I was a business owner because I'm pretty sure I just did the bare minimum to get through life up until that stage. And it wasn't until it was my name on something that
Mm.
stuff needed to be perfect. So yeah, that's when I can picture that coming into my life. And yeah, I'd like to slowly work on removing it.
Yeah. Something that listening to you speak about your journey, um, it feels like a lot of people don't think that they have any agency over their treatment. And I like knowing people that I know as well. It's so true. Like they just do what they're told and don't think outside, the parallels that they're given. Do
Yep,
you reckon that that change in agency changed your whole recovery process?
definitely.
Yeah.
Especially with the TMS, like for that treatment, I think it's changed a little bit now, but I had to do 30 days as an inpatient. And then the hospital that I was going through, I had to keep going back as an inpatient. And after I'd done that for a little while, I knew what worked for me. Um, so I would go into hospital on a Monday morning. I'd have 7 treatments and I'd leave Friday morning. I'd be on no medication. Every time I went in there, the doctors tried to prescribe something for me. And they tried to tell me that these 7 treatments won't work. After a few months of doing this, they realized that I wasn't going to change. So
Yeah.
my consults with the psychiatrist in the hospital lasted about 30 seconds because they'd sit down, talk to me, and they'd look and go, You're not on medication." I go, "That's right. And you're only here for 7 treatments." "That's right." They go, "Well, we don't think that's going to work." I said, "Well, I don't really care what you think. I know how I feel when I come in here. I know how I feel when I sit in the chair, and I know how I feel when I leave." So um, yeah, it's been a lot of me probably sounding arrogant with no medical training, but it's my body. I know how I feel, and I know what works for me.
Yeah, that's it. You're the only one that knows your body the best, right? And it's
Yep,
like when you have a baby and there's something, they're crook or something, and then someone will fob it off. And you're like, no, no, I know my baby the best. And it's the same with
yep,
your body and your mental health as well. Like, when things are working and when things aren't.
yep. And I've been through that many psychologists and psychiatrists just to find ones that will support what I want to do and help guide me in the right direction that I'm trying to go, not try to put me on a path that I'm not comfortable with. So
Mm.
yeah, I know what works for me. It's just a matter of keeping me on track and doing the things that I need to do.
Do you still have the TMS? Is it something that you sort of just keep
Yep,
doing? Yeah.
yep. So I'm down. I do it one morning a fortnight now. So Tuesday mornings. So Tuesday is my wellness day, I guess. So I teach yoga on a Tuesday. So I swing by where I teach and turn on the infrared saunas and the cold plunge. I drive out, get my TMS done, and then come back to the gym, do the sauna, cold plunge, and then we do our hour and a half yoga, and then it's school pickup time. So
Yeah, nice.
yeah, that's my Tuesdays, and yeah, again, it works for me. The doctor I go through for that is absolutely supportive of what I want to do. I can ring up if I need a top up in between, or if I feel I'm doing well, then they're absolutely fine with me going. I can skip this week.
Yeah. For those people that don't know, what is TMS and what does that involve?
Right. So I think it's compared to back in the olden days, I used to do the ECT, which was the electricity, um, using electrodes to go through your brain. So the way that I've had this broken down to me, it's it's using magnetic stimulation. So they do measurements over your brain to see what your body does to find the optimum spot in your brain to zap. So I guess the best way that I had it explained to me was when you look out at a paddock full of cows, there'll usually just be one track that's heavily worn just
Yeah.
because it's easy. So they've just taken that one track back and forth. And our brain can look like that. So this treatment helps to open all the other pathways up rather than just the one that you might be traveling back and forth on. So it opens up all the different, I'll say, emotional pathways because that's been a massive change for me.
Hmm.
But just, yeah, giving you a little zap there and then it goes through your brain, it's back out the other side. So it's just opening up pathways that maybe aren't getting used. Um, It's, I'll say it's pain-free. It's a little circular coil that sits just touching your head wherever your head has been measured, and it just does some little taps just with electromagnetic forces going in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had any bad side effects for for the benefits I get out of it. It's an absolute no-brainer for me. A lot of people I know are still on medication while they're doing it, but I wanted there to be less, I guess, less things to muck around with to get it right. So I didn't want to have to be trying to work out medication and then work out the dosage that I need for TMS and not knowing what it is that's not working. So I
Yeah.
wanted my brain to be in its most natural state day one of me doing TMS. But most psychiatrists have got TMS machines now, and then there's a lot of companies set up that just do TMS.
Okay.
So it's a pretty common
Form of
treatment
treatment.
option now.
That's amazing. I love that it's worked so well for you. One thing that I really like when we talk about recovery as well with PTSD, like it's obviously a roller coaster, but volunteering, I think, or giving, like just the act of giving, it can be so little, like you don't even have to volunteer. But I found for me that really opened up my eyes, especially working like as a police officer, where you see like the the worst 1% of the world 99% of the time sort of thing. So your glasses aren't rose colored, that's for sure. But then when you start giving back to people or just, giving yourself a little bit or meeting nicer people and then volunteering as well, I think that just opens up a whole, it's like you've unlocked a new level, I think. Like for me it was anyway. Is that what
Yeah.
you feel about volunteering?
Yeah. So it's, I guess the people that you meet when you're doing it are all good
Yeah.
people out there doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
I've been to a couple of award ceremonies for volunteering and community-based awards, and just the vibes in those rooms are absolutely crazy. Like these people could be CEOs of multi-million dollar companies, but they've chosen to put their passion and I guess skills and brain to a better cause, to actually helping people rather than just filling their pockets. And I guess just touching on your one there about the police seeing the worst of everything, I've had a few comments like when you're out in the boat, every boatie waves to each other.
Yeah.
So I've had a couple of police officers on there going, "Why is everyone so friendly out here? Why
Yeah.
is everyone waving?"
It's
So
so
it's an
bizarre.
awesome, yeah, it's an awesome lesson just to go, why are these people being nice to us? They don't know who we are.
Yeah.
So, and it's a good one, especially for police to see that not everyone out there's a bad person.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. I still say to my husband, like, you'll meet someone new every now and then and go, wow, that was such a nice person.
Yeah,
It just blows my mind every time.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it is a shame, especially with you guys, that yeah, you don't get to see the good people in the world.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that definitely doesn't help. But yeah, what I'm doing is trying to show people that there's plenty of good people out there.
Hmm.
And yeah, we've got a really good bunch that hang out with us. Um, more on the volunteering. So I have volunteers that come and help me for every trip that we do. Plus, we do a lot of maintenance, and I really struggle asking for help. But I put the call out there for all the crappy jobs on the boat that I'd usually just struggle through myself. And the amount of people we get coming just to go, I just want to help. I want to actually get out of the house and do something and see that I've made a difference, even if it's as the last crap job we did was down in the bilge. So the bottom of the boat where it catches all the oil, fuel, dirty water, everything. Um, I'd never usually ask someone for that. And yeah, had three people come and help, probably do the worst job that you can do on a boat, and just wanted to be able to do it because they could see a difference. And then I pretty much had to drag one of them out of the bilge when I thought it was good enough. And she's going, no, no, I can keep going. I can clean this and I can do this. And yeah, it's just there's a lot of people out there want to help.
Yeah. It's such a nice, and it sounds like you've really built a little community up there as well with it, which is exactly what we need, right, when we're recovering.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Mm.
good. Like, yeah, it's very rewarding, especially when you talk to people who don't leave the house for anything, but they feel comfortable to come and hang out with us. So
Mm.
everything we do is alcohol free. We try and keep it as story free as we can.
Yeah.
And yeah, people come on there with no agenda. They just come to relax. So owning boats and maintaining boats is very stressful. So that's what I've tried to set up. So I take all that away. We pick people up from a public pontoon, so they step on, enjoy their day, step off, and then we go and do all the work behind the scenes.
That's so lovely. Where
Mm.
can people find you and what you're up to if they're in the area?
Yeah. So our website is mate-ship, and you can get to our Instagram and Facebook from there. So as I mentioned before, we offer free either weekly or fortnightly trips out on our boats for veterans, emergency services, family, and carers. We've usually got at least one maintenance day a week happening. So you can jump on our website, jump on, become a member, which again is free, but it gives you access to our calendar so you can see what's coming up. You can book whatever is on there that you want to, and then just follow along on social media. It's updated a little bit more often than the website is.
Yeah, awesome. I'll pop it all in the show notes as well so people can just click on the link. Is there anything
Awesome.
else that you wanted to talk to us about?
If you want to get better, the only way you're going to get better is by you doing it. So
Yeah,
no one out there is there to get you better. You're your own best critic, best doctor, best source of knowledge with what you need to do, and knowing what works for you. And I guess just knowing that you can suggest things to the people that are offering you treatment. Yeah, it's not just a one-way street.
absolutely. I think a lot of people with mental illnesses or injuries from work like ours think that because they have a diagnosis now that's it for them. And
Yep,
why wouldn't they when they get told you're never going to work
yep,
again, you're going to be on
yep,
medication for the rest of your
yep.
life? But there's certainly things that you can do. There's things that you can achieve. You just, like you said, you have to be your own advocate and get out there and get it done for yourself.
Yeah, I've got a lot of people that have been like that in the past where I've asked them to do something and they go, I can't because I've got PTSD, and go, well, so do I.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you're fine. So I'm not, but I'm doing things to make me actually get out there and do things. So
yeah,
yeah, it's definitely a long, tricky road to navigate. But yeah, just remembering you know what works for you. Um, and there's plenty of things that you can do out there by yourself to improve your mental health naturally.
yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for coming on, Shane, and sharing your journey and everything with Mateship. I think it's such a great charity. I love that it's out in nature as well. It's so
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
healing powers of the water and Mother
Oh,
Nature is
that
awesome.
salt water. There's something in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Thanks so much.
No worries. Thank you.
I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss any new ones. We release fresh content every Tuesday. And while you're there, take a moment to leave us a review. I would genuinely appreciate your thoughts. Don't forget to connect with me on Instagram and Facebook at Tactical Yoga Australia and share this episode with your friends, family, and workmates to spread inspiration. Your support means the world. My name is Rosie Skeen. Join me again next week for another empowering and positive episode of Triumph Beyond Trauma. Until then, be kind to your mind and trust in the magic of your consistent and positive efforts. Triumph beyond your trauma is closer than you think. Have the best week.